What's up, YouTube and Facebook, and welcome back to Not Quite Mint. We're finally back together. Hey! So welcome back. We're going to do our review show this week to review the comics that came out on the 29th of July 2020, and we're finally back together in the same room. So we're going to run down our top 5. We're going to talk about some ones that we really enjoyed and some we didn't enjoy. So should we get into it, Rich?
Yep, let's get into it. Guys, if you are new to the channel, obviously do make sure that you subscribe. Hit the dingly bell. I can give you the bell.
Oh, mate, dingly bell job.
There you go.
Yes.
There you go. Hit that little bell icon and you'll be able to obviously be updated when we are going live and all the rest of it. It's by me. It's been over by you, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's by me this time. So this here, obviously, we are on all the social medias. So do make sure that you obviously, whichever one you use, if you use all of them, follow us on all of them. But that's probably the easiest way you can get in touch with us. And like we try and do daily updates and all that kind of stuff.
And we can't stress enough how much it means to us that you subscribe to the channel and you go and follow us on all these Instagram and Facebook and all the bits and pieces. It means a hell of a lot to us. It knows that we're doing the right thing and that you guys like what we do. I mean, that's all we need to know, really. Definitely. So we can carry on doing it.
Definitely. And anybody there, obviously, give us that thumbs up, because again, that gives a good indication that we're making stuff that you guys want to obviously watch. And as always, we're always interested in people's views.
Yeah.
Make sure you comment down below. Let us know what's been happening. Obviously, what you've been reading. Did you read what we read? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Is there something else we should be reading?
Yeah, absolutely. Are there any independents that we've missed that we should be reading? Because we are very Marvel DC heavy, and I think that's just because that's what we're comfortable with. But if there are any independents out there that you think we should be reading, or we might have missed on some really good opportunities, then give us a shout in the comments.
Definitely pre-lockdown, we were like, I remember us reading like Mercy, which was really good.
Mercy was good.
I've heard really good things about that. And
have you been caught up with Alienated?
I've seen it, and then I was like, I know we read the first one.
Yeah,
but yeah. So
I have continued with the Alienated, and I've actually really enjoyed it. I might do it for next week's review.
Oh, okay, cool.
I'll talk about it next week.
There you go, guys. So as always, do make sure that you are subscribed and all the rest of it. There's another reason why we are together this week. I always thought we'd do it because a little bit of a future promo. This here, anybody who knows anything about CGC, you'll know that this is full of slabs. Obviously, we've had this
actual paving slabs.
Slabs, it feels like it. It really does. Once we finish this stream, we are going to be cracking open this box. We've got 25 slabs back from CGC. It's our first ever subscription submission. So we're going to find out, obviously, how we're getting on. But basically, we'll upload the video of our reactions to obviously getting our slabs out of here on like either Saturday or Sunday. So do make sure you are subscribed so you can see our first ever CGC slab unboxing.
Hit that dingly bell so you don't miss it.
There you go. I love the plugin. See, I missed the dingly bell thing because like it is.
It's because it's there.
Tom's on it, and I felt like it was like a violation of your like thing. You know, I was really like, I should have posted it to you or something. But
yeah, I've got one now though. I've got Rex's dingly bell.
Oh, he's food
and helping with his training and stuff.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, I might use that from now on.
I like it. Anyway, so we're here to talk about comics.
Let's do it.
So let's do it, because to be fair, I'm excited to open up the CGC stuff. So let's
crack on through this and we get on with that one.
Everything was crap. So
everything was awful. No one didn't like it.
So I've forgotten where we said we were going to start.
Well, I thought we should start with Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
So I read this current issue of Wonder Woman. It's 759, and it's the new creative team. I instantly assumed before I picked it up or before I read it that it was going to be a reboot, as it were, and a new creative team, new reboot, new characters. And I thought, oh, it's going to be good. We're going to get this new Liar character. It's going to be interesting. I bored me to death. I skipped a few pages. I didn't quite get into it, as it were. The ending was really good. The last few panels were really good because she ends up going to a prison where there's like a riot going on and she kind of sorts the riot out. But on the build up to that, she's moving into a new apartment. There's a rabbit. There's this new pet. She goes to IKEA. I mean, yeah, that's about as much as I can say about it, to be perfectly honest.
Sounds a lovely read.
I thought it was going to be really good. Like, whenever there's a new creative team, I like to jump in on these new creative teams. It's a good jumping in point. Gives you an opportunity to try out new characters and things you haven't picked up before. So I thought I'd pick up Wonder Woman. We did a spotlight on her a couple of weeks back.
Yeah, we did.
And I liked some of the stuff there. So I thought, oh, this gives me an opportunity to get into Wonder Woman. I'm probably not going to get issue 2. The next one.
No.
Issue 760.
Yeah. He's off the list.
Also, no idea who Lila is. Couldn't tell you.
Well,
unless it's the rabbit.
Yeah, I was quite disappointed by that because again, obviously, it was part of our first appearances on our keys video, wasn't it? So when I was going to read it, and then I had a look in the Key Collector app because it came up with like the subscriber spoilers in there for this issue, and I just saw the panel, and I was like, where does it say that person's liar? And it really doesn't. So I don't know enough of what's going on to understand how
also,
that's
the only thing I can think of is Maxwell Lord is in this, who's an old Wonder Woman villain. If he turns out to be Liar, I'll be like, okay, that's the same character with a different name.
So bit of a disappointment. And that's why we are leaving it at the bottom of our list because it was not great. So we're going to move on to and one of our joint reads, aren't we?
Joint reads,
that has slipped down the list quite.
Yes, considering that issue 1 was quite high at the top of this list.
Yeah,
originally.
Yeah, so we really liked issue 1, didn't we? I haven't yet read issue 2, and I'll explain why in a moment. So picked up Empyre issue 3. Based on what Tom was sort of like saying in his reviews and stuff like last week, I was interested to see what issue 3 was. I got issue 3, read it, and it's kind of like the only thing that happened in it spoils the issue, and it happened right on the very last page yet again.
Yeah,
and it wasn't even that exciting because it wasn't a first appearance or anything like that. It's somebody who's been in like comics before, and it kind of like just was like it's like a D grade villain in my book.
Wow.
There's none of this stuff. There was none of the real talk about like the Celestial Messiah. Her name's not Noi or something like that. It's really weird.
Not sure,
but there was no mention of that character. Like literally, it was just all. There was a lot of dialogue. And I found it really quite disappointing and quite boring. So like I'm bummed, man, because like I thought Empyre was really going to build towards something.
I'd agree, mate. Yes. Well, I wasn't a huge fan of issue 2. I'm not going to hold back to it. Sorry. So issue 1, I thought was incredible. I liked the way it ended. I liked that it was. Obviously, if you've not read issue 1 and you really want to read issue 1, I would pause now for a little bit or come back in like a couple of minutes.
You've had 2 weeks.
Yeah, exactly. You've had 2 weeks. Issue 1 was so good. The twist at the end where the Celestial Messiah is a bad guy. The fact that he's completely done over the Avengers was great. It was so good, and the tie-ins that led into that made that so epic that I was really excited for issue 2 and issue 3. Issue 2 let me down massively, and all you got from that was the fact that Carol Danvers now becomes the accuser. Brilliant, excellent, but it ends on the last page. Issue 3 does exactly the same thing. It's got all this kind of, there's so much they could build up, but I like the Marvel events. I always have done. They're kind of my go-to, just so I can get a little bit of all the characters, because I can't read all the characters at once, can you? So I like the events, but this one is so all over the place. I don't know what's going on. It's a little bit, like you said, a lot of dialogue. And then the way it ended, it was like, oh, awesome. But yeah, not really that bothered.
It took me ages to read it. It really did.
Also, I think they give away in this issue who's going to die in the 4th issue.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, it was. I found it a massive anticlimax in a way. And again, I like issue 1. And basically because I found it such a hard read. And then I was thinking, is it because I haven't read issue 2? But I kind of like, I wasn't motivated to then go and read issue 2 after reading this. So it was a real shame. And I'm going to be interested to see what other people think about it as well. Because I think we're fair in saying after reading, there was an Avengers tie-in and there was a Fantastic Four. And both of those were really decent, they sort of built it up quite well, and issue 1 brought that together, and now they just seem to be drifting off.
Well, this is what I'm going to come to next. Is I read last week the XMen tie into this, and I've got the Captain America one to read, and there's Savage Avengers. And from what I've read and what I've heard from people saying, is the tie-ins are better than the main event. And if that's the case, then Marvel have got it completely wrong with this, to be perfectly honest. Because it's very rare. It happened with Fear itself, but only because Iron Man's tie-ins to that was so good because he made the equipment for Fear itself. But in this, I just think they've got it slightly backwards. The main story should be your focus. The sidelines should be like, oh, I just need to know what happened to that character, rather than what's going on. Oh, okay, I'll read a tie-in to understand.
No.
Yeah,
no, it's disappointing. It really
is. It is. I'll continue to read it. I'll read the whole 6 parts.
Yeah, I'm going to read all of it as well because, and the main reason being, again, I can't because it's coming. We know Empyre's End, which is the issue after issue 6, is obviously going to feature Null, and so it's going to tie into the King in Black. But Jesus Christ, if it's as poorly written, I say poorly written, but like if it's as hard going, I think is a better way of saying it. If it's as hard going as it is at the moment, God, could King in Black be an absolute? But Donny Cates is right in that.
Yes, well, that's what I was going to say. And I think, unfortunately, with this one, they've got Dan Slott and Al Ewing,
and they're
so unique.
Yeah,
both of them. Yeah. But I think they're both struggling. Well, that's personal opinion. I think personally, it looks like they're struggling to come up with a story between the two
together. Yeah. I'd agree.
I mean, it's like taking if you took say Jonathan Hickman and mashed him in with Donny Cates. I don't think it would work.
No, you're right. Yeah. I think it's there's something not right. Is there? It's basically what we're thinking. Basically. So there were quite a few tie-ins this week to Empyre.
Yeah.
And one of them is one that I wasn't able to pick up to read, but it is this one was quite a bit of fuss about this.
Yes, Captain Marvel issue 18, and this was better than Empyre. 100% better than Empyre. It gets to the point where like Hulkling gets this message from a planet out and about, and they're like, basically the planet's been destroyed. It's been destroyed by a Kree warrior. We need an accuser to basically do the accuser's job, which is to go and basically kind of like a judge, jury, and executioner for the crew. So he sends Carol. She gets there. Then she ends up kind of having a bit of a backstory situation. There's a bit of movement around. Actually, sorry, I'll digress slightly. At the start of this issue, it's so epic. There's a Kree / Skrull vehicle that's in danger. And just Carol comes in and just completely saves the day.
Oh, okay.
Like, she's so cool.
She's really cool.
As a character, she's wicked. Anyway, so she ends up on this planet, finds out that this Kree person she's got to accuse, they have a little bit of a to and from. And it is the first appearance of this Laurel, who happens to be Carol Danvers' half-sister. And she looks identical to her, but she's blue. So I can't really tell you what else happens because the way it ends is kind of not what you would expect. So yeah, I would pick this one up if I were you. This one's pretty good.
Was there in any way? Were there any kind of like? What was there any kind of link that you would say to this after reading it? Though?
The only link I would say there is to this is the fact that they're referring to Carol as the accuser now rather than as Captain Marvel. The only other thing that I think it comes across is that she's willing to do anything for the Kree, and obviously in this, Hulkling makes that ultimate choice in the Empyre to not sacrifice certain things and do certain things, which actually we completely paved over our review. Is there is one part in Empyre where Hulkling has to make a decision, but because the whole overall story was pretty much bad, I've forgotten that one bit that was any good. Anyway,
but again, it was surrounded by a lot of
chit chat,
and then literally, as I say, I've got obviously the book. I'm going back to obviously Empyre.
Yes, well, it's because you're talking about a tie-in anyway.
Yeah, and let me find a decent kind of.
When does he make that decision? Is it
that bit there?
No, is it after the revelation? No.
So it's before.
So you got to go till like pretty much 3/4 through the way through the book before it gets good, and then it stops being good, and then it goes back to being the ending bit, which is pretty good.
Yeah, I mean,
There it is.
Yeah, it's this bit here, isn't it? So there's a lot of this backward. There's not a lot of action. There's a lot of like going backwards and forwards.
So bits in it, if anything, it's very political, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's like a political
I was going to
book.
say it was it was politics. And it's that bit there.
That's it. That's the best part of Empyre 3, and then at the end.
But like I say, it was like I think it was just really choppy and like backwards and forwards and a bit hard to follow. So I was just a bit. I wasn't. It's just really underwhelming. But some of the artwork was all right.
Oh yeah, the artwork's great.
So we're trying to put some positives, but
yeah. I mean, it wasn't as bad as some of the comics I've read.
No, not at all.
No.
So yeah,
I mean, there was some. What was it? I can't remember the book we read that once for one of the reviews. It was so bad that we just had nothing to say about it. It's going to drive me mad.
It was an independent.
It was an independent.
We hadn't. That's our trouble. We haven't got a good track record, have we? With independence.
Not with independence.
No. So, do you want to do? Which one should we do?
Do you want to do your pick and then I'll do?
Yeah.
Mine. Oh no. Or do you want to do the that one?
This one, yeah.
Yeah, and then we can do our picks.
Yeah. There we go.
Cool. So I read the Amazing Spider-Man, the new issue of Amazing Spider-Man. I can't remember what the number is because it's not on that overlay.
I want to say it's 46.
I think you're right. I think it's about 46.
Yeah,
but it's this reappearance of the Sin Eater. I really enjoyed this one. It was really good fun. Dark in places, and then this is kind of build up to who this Sin Eater is. And well, you already know who Sin Eater is. He's not. It's not a new appearance for him, but who's controlling him is the whole premise behind it. Really good fun. The only thing I would say is Spider-Man never takes a day off, right? Ever in any of his time doing anything. But in this one, he took a night off. And Mary Jane didn't go with him. Like he literally was sat in the audience of a play on his own, no Mary Jane. So that was really quite hard to follow, to be perfectly honest. It's kind of one of those things where they just seem like they've written this in for no apparent reason. He's took a night off. His wife's let him down. Great, nice one. But it was good. It was a good, fun comic. It was probably one of my favourite ones this week. It was just fun to read, and it had nothing to do with Empyre. Yeah. So it was not.
It was a bit of a refresh. Yeah, because I think that's the thing, isn't it? Like there's a massive amount of like fatigue with Empyre, and because there's so much material around it being written about it, because it's this all-encompassing event, isn't it? And you've got the tie-ins, and it's a bit epic, isn't it? So yeah, I've picked up the Prelude Sin Eater, and I've got
that's really good.
And I've got this issue.
I really enjoyed that
as well. So I want to because I think I'd said, hadn't I, that I wanted to use this as a bit of a getting back into Spider-Man as a bit of a jumping in point. So I will read those. So because hopefully something good happens in. The
artwork in this is great as well, so it's well worth picking up, I'd say.
And I've heard as well that I think after issue 46, they're moving back to the legacy numbering again, because I think they're close to issue 850 with Spider-Man. So I think that's in a couple of months. So they're going to have like the legacy numbering on there as well.
Return of the Green Goblin, aren't you, at some point?
It'd be cool to see how that pans out as well. Definitely.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Anyway, like this one.
Yeah.
Definitely get this one. Pick
it up. Yeah. I'm glad that it's good, because Nick Spencer's been a bit.
Yeah.
I
think it's lost. The problem I've got with Spider-Man is I think it's lost a bit of its steam since Dan Slott jumped off Spider-Man. But then you read Empyre and you're like, well, I can see why Dan Slott's not doing Spider-Man anymore.
Yeah. Well, it was, and he did the Iron Man 2020.
That was the one. It wasn't an independent. It was Iron Man 2020. How awful is that book?
Yeah.
I hated that.
Yeah, and I was kind of again looking forward to having that Iron Man 2020 event, and it was just awful.
I don't know anyone that's read it and enjoyed it.
Yeah, terrible, boring, horrible stuff.
Anyway, what's your pick then, mate? Let's have a look.
My pick that I've read by myself is Darth Vader 3. I really love the covers on these.
Because so cool. The story in this is wicked.
It's in Hook Lee, who's doing all the standard covers, and they're just really nice. Like you can sort of see it, but just really, really cool. I love Star Wars, and I am probably one of the biggest nerds in terms of like trying to find out, like how everything, all the, all like things like interconnect and everything like that. I love all that, stuff. So I read like I used to read the expanded universe books, and I've only just started getting into obviously the comics and stuff. So, and I really like this because this issue especially, they're playing on the fact of obviously Darth Vader effectively dealing with the loss and what he did to Padme. And it's obviously really clever. Obviously, you look at that cover, and again, spoilers, but the first issue did come out pre-lockdown.
Yeah, I mean, the first issue was cracking, to be perfectly honest. I think I've already read issue 1. Has it come about yet whether or not she's a ghost?
No. So
whether she's real? Or...
So this is where it's quite clever, actually, because, and I think probably people were able to like figure it out. But effectively, if you remember back to episode 1 and certainly episode 2, the first 3 episodes of Star Wars, Padme quite often didn't actively perform the role of monarch. She wasn't always queen, so she'd always have these handmaidens, and sometimes handmaidens would stand in for her.
Because that's who he fell in love with in the first one, isn't it? And it wasn't Padme.
All the rest of it was like, sort of, you didn't think it was Padme, but you thought it was one of the handmaidens because it was like going to help out. Actually, it was. That
is pretty cool.
So this person is the person who was one of her decoys, effectively, called Sana, I believe. So effectively, she's kind of been working with Vader to basically find out who it was that murdered Padme.
Wow.
And then it's sort of like, this was quite nice because like they went back to Naboo.
Cool.
So they went into like
Naboo,
so they went to like, they walked around like her like lake palace and all that kind of stuff, and the bits that you saw in the film where they were kind of like falling in love and like sharing food with the Force and all that type of stuff. They did a bit of that kind of cut back, but then it was like Vader stood in the same room, as well as the fact that he was there as Anakin as well. So it's I thought it was really clever, and it filled in a couple of those gaps and stuff. And at the end of they do go to try and find the Gungans. There's no Jar Jar Binks though.
Oh, it's Greg Pak, isn't it?
Yeah,
He's a great writer. Greg Pak's a great
writer. So they go off in like the little Gungan submarine. So there's like a nice little sort of homage to episode 1 where they go off to find the Gungans and Jar Jar Binks and stuff. They don't find Jar Jar Binks, but everything all comes to a bit of a head in this one, so it's really good. So I'm excited again for the next episode, the next issue. But it's
ready for the next episode.
Genuinely, I'm really, really enjoying it. And to be fair, this is obviously volume 3 of Darth Vader. This is set after Empire Strikes Back, but before Return of the Jedi. And yeah, it's really worthwhile reading because there's a lot of stuff that's happening in the comics with Star Wars at the moment that is adding to canon. So it's because they're obviously building the High Republic era up as being the next phase of the films, and they're starting in the comics to start making mentions of the High Republic and building that kind of mythos here already, and they're going to be releasing some books as well.
Nice.
So it's cool. I like, as I say, I love Star Wars. So
I don't think anyone knew that. It's like no one knows that I like J. Scott
Campbell. Yeah. But so that's where I am with that. And this one is your pick, mate.
Yeah, so I picked up the most latest issue of X-Men, which I think is issue 10. I really enjoyed this one. I like what they're doing with the X-Men comics. I do like, a lot of people have said it's a saturated market. There's so many X-Men comics. How can you keep up? I like it. X-Men are my jam. I read all of the titles. It's not a problem for me. I enjoy it. But this one was really interesting because they kind of spotlighted on Vulcan. I don't know if you know who Vulcan is. He is. I spoke about him at one of the Deadly Genesis was a book that I read. A while back during lockdown, and he's the third Summers brother, but he's slightly tapped because he basically died, then was resurrected, and lots of things happened to him. But he ended up going to the Shi'ar, and then he became their emperor, and a lot of stuff's happened to him. So it was nice to have him back in kind of normal continuity, and you get this kind of they do some like back scenes with him where he's lying on a bed and like his whole body's being ripped apart, put back together by these kind of aliens. And it's pretty cool. And then he goes, because the Summers live on the moon, and obviously the Qatari are on the moon.
Yeah,
Qatar, is that you saying? Qatar?
Yeah, the Qatar. Yeah,
Qatari. They're on the moon. So he's like, I'm just going to go and have a walk. Like, I've had enough. I'm just going to have a walk. And he ends up walking into the blue side of the moon where the Qatari are. And he ends up having a fight with them. It's epic. It's pretty cool. Yeah. And then something happens during that period of time that he kind of unlocks something in his head.
Oh, okay.
That has been kind of put aside because of, being taken apart and put back together by these aliens. So it's interesting to see where it's going to go. I don't want to spoil it too much because it's well worth the read. Okay. But yeah, so I'd like to see where Vulcan goes.
Cool.
On the old X-Men job. Good job.
So we are. We've got
someone in.
Oh, we've got
Dino.
Dino's here. Yes, thanks, Dino. Yeah, as I say, we're back together now, so we can start doing different
stuff. Yes, Boom X-Men is amazing at the moment.
Yeah,
totally agree.
But we're kind of like merging on from that because the final book in our pick of the week.
Pick of the week
is, and I'll bring up what's it. It is.
Top one. That's it.
Yeah. So it is XFactor #1. Obviously, I was sort of jumping in with both feet with this because I've still yet to catch up with Dawn of X.
So you don't know what Krakoa is and all that?
I know what Krakoa is because we've read obviously the Fantastic Four X-Men crossover, and I've listened to enough book reviews on good old YouTube to know roughly what's going on. And I think we've reviewed a couple of X-Men issues like pre-lockdown as well. So I've got a rough idea with the whole thing, and this is obviously it's quite. I thought it was quite clever, and I'm quite intrigued to see which way it goes because they're setting up XFactor as almost like a detective,
like a police force,
to investigate whether or not resurrection requests with this whole resurrection thing that they've got going on, whether the requests that they're receiving are legitimate, effectively, aren't they?
It's essentially because they talk about not having the same person twice. Because then what do you do when you've got two of the same person, essentially? So they have to. The X Factor are basically going to become like a police force, like Rich said, like a detective, where they just basically go and look to see whether the mutant's been murdered or has actually died, and they need to provide evidence before the five can put this person back together and bring them back into living. This one's really interesting. But this book is really interesting because it's the kind of amalgamating of the whole team. Because North Star at the start of the comic, his sister's gone missing, and he thinks that she's dead. So he decides to go and see the five. He's like, "Oh, I need my sister resurrected," and they're like, "Well, you've got no proof. Prove it." So he kind of puts X-Force together. But what X Factor,
North Star, isn't it?
Yeah, North Star. Yeah. But what I like about it, which I thought was really cool, is it's really fun. It's very written like it's supposed to be fun, and the art style really lends itself to that. It's almost like reading an animated comic. I found, and I really liked it, and it just was really fun. There's a guy in it called Eyeball Kid or something. Eyeball Job.
I don't know.
But he was funny. I liked him. He was kind of the funny, dopey character to have.
It's a bit of comedy.
Polaris is in this. She's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Like she's Magneto's daughter, and she's like killing it. I think it's Rachel Summers that's been renamed Prestige. Yeah, but she's cool. She's got a little pet like werewolf, which is pretty cool.
That shits everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. and then
Dakon's
in it, and he's some kind of like
he's a bisexual hunk.
Who's like coming on to everyone. I mean, what more do you want?
It's hilarious, man. But we've got Lee in as well from Retro Cave Comics. So
what's up, Lee?
Yeah, lads. So yes, it is good to see you both here. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think, like what you said, with the whole art style, it feels very Humberto Ramos.
Yes, yeah, it's fun, isn't it?
So we are enjoying Strange Academy at the moment. It's kind of like a nice light bit of fun comic to read.
Yeah.
XFactor, this is it's obviously a bit more grown up with like the issues that they're dealing with, but I think it does bridge that gap quite well with like the way that the art looks and the way that the story is and stuff. And it does feel quite relevant. It's going to be interesting to see how it's received more widely, because it isn't quite. It's not like X-Force, which is a bit further out.
Yeah.
Obviously, XMen deals with the main like story threads, so it's going to be interesting to see how how I think this is taken on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really did enjoy it. Hence why, out of what we've read this week,
that's definitely my pick of the week.
Definitely pick of the week, 100%. Which I was quite surprised at. Really.
These two chatting away about the weather.
Yeah,
it's hot. It's hot. But lucky enough, Rich has got really good ventilation. So even there's two like manly dudes in here sweating, we're all right.
That's it, manly dudes, love it. But oh, there you go, Prestatine. Yeah, I was in last week when I wasn't here. If anybody's interested, I was Colwyn Bay by Abergele with my wife at my mum and dad's like sort of caravan thing. So yeah.
Happy days.
Well, this is the thing, you see, like I've been watching some of Lee's videos, and he's doing a couple of comic hunts, mate. He's going out digging.
I've watched them myself. They're pretty good.
Have you seen that? Did you see him pull the original Sin #4 Amazing Spider-Man?
No, I don't think it's that one.
Yeah, old Lee pulled £1 for
crazy,
and it looked pretty. To be fair, he pulled it out of the box, and it made me laugh because he kind of like got a bit excited, showed it to the camera, nearly dropped it, which I
think that's what I'd do though, to be perfectly honest.
But he was like,
I'm not subtle at all.
But yeah, fair play for that find, definitely. But so we're going to get out and about, though, aren't we? And hopefully do some little road trips. But yeah, Wrexham was where Lee went.
I did some training in Wrexham.
Little place there, yeah. So, yeah, £1 original Sin there you go.
Happy days.
Because I think it's Comic Dino. He does a bargain bin show as well. And
Dino does, yeah.
Yeah, that's like, so I was like waiting. I was waiting for Lee to pop up with that and go.
He just said,
win all the votes. Yeah. yeah, don't go against it. Yeah, it looks like a little honeypot, that place in Wrexham, definitely. Nice one.
I'm going.
Yeah, in the car, you
see
camp outside, yeah. But I don't know how people do it though, like, because that guy's, obviously bought them, probably said, I'll give you 25p, and somebody's gone, oh, all right then, yeah. So don't know how they do it.
There's plenty of people out there selling their like bulk load collections. If you've got the cash to get in and buy them,
it's having that
having that
500-600 quid just to throw at one collection, isn't it? Yeah. So,
anyway, we've massively digressed.
We have
the reviews,
but X-Factor's first pick, and that's the main thing. We, as I say, guys, we have got, just so that everybody can see it again. So, in case you've only just dropped in, we have got this big box of 25 CGC slabs that we haven't yet opened. So,
road trip. Agreed. Road trip.
We should do a road trip. It would be good. So we're going to open this. We're going to record a video that we're going to upload over the weekend of all of these CGC slabs. We've got quite a few good books in there to look at. We've got my pretty mashed up Hulk 180. We've got Ultimate Fallout 4, New Mutants 98, She-Hulk 1.
Yeah. And
then I've got like some of the new. We've got, I think it's about 6 modern books, which are like Venoms and bits and bobs like that. So it's So make sure you come back for that video and hit obviously the notification. I got him before him. But yeah, do that. Obviously, subscribe. Give us a thumbs up.
It means a hell of a lot to us.
Massively. Obviously, down in the comments, let us know what you guys have been reading as well. Thanks ever so much for Comic Dino and Retro Crave Lee for popping in. Guys, that is it for this week from me. So just take care till next time.
Yeah, look after yourselves, read loads and loads of comic books, and don't forget what our pick of the week is this week, and we want to know what you thought of it. So yeah, see you.